this is Dr. Robinson, and today I'm going to go over how blind students can create geometric shapes. They absolutely must start out with a tactile instrument, something like the Draftsman's Toolkit. There are rubber boards with pins and rubber bands and all sorts of ways to enable blind students to create their own tactilely. But once they understand how to create the graphs, then they're going to move into how they create it using Excel and Word, so they can just take a picture of the graph and of course insert it with all of their work. I'm going to pretend that I have been given a whole bunch of data in order to make a triangle today. 60 degrees in each corner, and label it and of course emboss this out. So even after the student learns how to do it, and even after they copy it and paste the perfect triangle into their work, they can emboss it out and just double check to make sure they did that correctly. Let me go ahead and control home so you can hear it all.
-2, A1.
Okay, so that's A1.
0, B1.
Okay, and
Enter 4, B2. 0, A2. 2, A3. 0, B3. 0, B4. -2, A4.
Okay, so you can go ahead and duplicate this same item. I'm using a Pix Blaster embosser with Tiger software. Okay, if I'm in my data, I know I can Control A and only select the data. If I'm actually outside the data and I do a Control A, I'll be selecting my whole document. Control A.
Select A1, -2, B4, 0.
Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and insert my graph. Alt N takes me to my insert menu.
Alt N, lower ribbon, insert tab, alt followed by N.
Okay. And D is typically the area that I go for lines and markers, and I'm just going to do lines today. So I'm going to hit D in order to get to my graph that I want.
D, even menus, insert scatter left, pair, Y right, pair, above, scatter with straight lines and markers button.
Okay, and enter.
Enter. Ribbon, chart title, scatter with data points.
I do want to make sure I make the weight of my lines heavy, and heavy means thicker, so I can easily feel my lines and it's not going to interfere with my background. So that's the first thing I'm going to adjust. To go to my format, and I need to select the area that I'm going to work on first. So Alt J A.
Lower ribbon, chart J, A.
And then E.
E, format, current selection, chart elements, edit, combo, collapse, chart area, alt followed by J, A, E, computer gradle.
So this is the chart area. I don't want that.
J, chart title, chart title. Horizontal left pair, value right pair, axis, horizontal left pair, value right pair, horizontal left plot area, plot area.
I'm going to keep going down because I want to get to my series. I can do first learner navigation also, but I want you to hear all the values.
Vertical left pair, series 1, series 1.
And enter.
Enter, leaving menus, leaving ribbons, chart title, scatter with data points connected.
Once my series is selected, now I can go back to the format and shape outline. So Alt J A S O.
Lower ribbon, chart tools, J, A. S, O, table, shape outline table, automatic button, Alt plus A.
W for weight.
W, list box, mid list box, 1/4 PT button. 1/2 PT button, leaving menus, leaving ribbons, triangle, dot XLSX, description, colon, scatter with data points, connect, lower ribbon, list box, mid list box, 3/4 PT button, leaving menus, leaving blank, chart title, scatter with description, colon, lower ribbon, list box, mid list box, 2 1/4 PT button, leaving menus, description, colon, scan, lower ribbon, list box, mid list box, 3 PT button, leaving menus, leaving blank, chart title, scatter with lower ribbon, list box, mid list box, 4 1/2 PT.
And enter.
Enter, selecting chart title, scatter with data points connected by lines. Enter.
Okay. The next thing I want to do, and I'm going to keep this pretty basic. I'm not going to change the chart title until after I deal with my data labels. So now I want to go ahead and pull up my label options, which requires me to go to my chart design with Alt JC.
Lower ribbon, chart tool J, C, chart design tab, alt followed by Y.
A.
Menu, leaving menus, axis, sub-menu, change the formatting and layout of each axis. To move from items, press up or down arrow, alt followed by J, C, A, X.
Now I'm going to go the long way once again. Once you understand where your data labels and the hotkey to get there, you'll use D.
Axis title, sub-menu, chart title, sub-menu, data label, sub-menu, leaving menus, leaving ribbons.
Okay, I hit right arrow and I'm going to hit U for data callout. The reason why I like U is because I want the numbers to go to the side of the shape so it doesn't interfere with the braille reading of the shape. So now I need to go back to my format in order to select my labels in order to change them or edit them.
Lower ribbon, home tab, alt followed by H, J, A. Chart tools, format tab, alt followed by Y, J, A, D. Format, current selection, chart elements, edit, combo, collapse, series 1, alt followed by J. Series 1 data labels, series 1 data labels.
And now you'll notice I have an additional option, Series 1, Data Labels, and enter. Okay, I need to go ahead and check the format of this now. Alt-J, A, and then M.
Leave it menus, lower ribbon, chart tool J, A. Leave it menus, leave it ribbons, sheet 1, chart 4, scanner with data points connected by line.
Tab to check my series name.
Tab, text options button, table, label options button, label contains value from cells, checkbox, series name, checkbox, not checked, space, checked.
Uncheck my X and Y values.
X value, checkbox, space, not checked. Y value, checkbox, checked, blur space, not checked.
Okay, and I can continue to tab and I could place these values to the center, the left, or above, or below, or anything, but I'm just going to keep it to the right. Control space, C to close.
Control space, menu, move, C.
Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and relabel these with Alt, J, C, and E.
Leave it menus, lower ribbon, J, C, chart design tab, Alt followed by Y, E. Leave it menus, select data source, chart data range.
I want to tab to edit.
Switch rows, add series button, edit series button to activate, press space bar, alt space, edit series, series name.
60.
60.
And enter.
60, enter, select data source, edit series button to activate, press space bar, alt plus E.
Tab to OK.
Remove series button, legend entries left there, 60 checkbox, horizontal left, fill with empty cell, OK button to activate, press space bar.
And off of this, if I actually wanted to add each one of these corners, I could add in the legend entries on the series names there, and I could change each one of those numbers, just as a side note. Enter.
Enter, triangle.xlsx.
So what I do know is when I relabel the series, the title changes also, and so I'm going to deal with a title name now, and that's Alt-JC A to add chart element.
Lower ribbon, chart tool J, C, A, menu, leave it menus, access sub menu, change the format in C. Lower ribbon, list box.
Chart title.
Button, alt plus, leave it menus, leave it ribbons, triangle.xlsx, alt plus A, 60, enter. T, L, E. Triangle, enter, chart format.
Okay, and triangle. So at this point, I want to copy this information out and paste it in my Word document, just like I'm typing out all my math in there. So I'm going to actually hit escape out of this because losing focus of the object is very common. And then I'm going to reselect it. So let's pretend I've lost focus for it. And now I'm going to Control-Shift-O to go to my objects.
Chart 5 graphic, select an object dialog, list 1, list 2, chart colon, triangle.
And enter.
Triangle, scanner with data points connected by lines.
And I regain focus of it, so I'm going to do a Control-C. And then I'm going to open Word and paste it.
Copy. Windows 3, taskbar.
And let's pretend I do number 1 and paste in my beautiful graph. And so this is for the teacher, so the teacher can go ahead and grade it. And now let's go ahead and produce a graphic for the blind student. Now it is time to emboss my beautiful graph. The first thing I need to do is move it. I'm going to go back to my chart design of Alt-JC.
Lower ribbon, chart J, C.
V to move.
V, leave it menus, leave it ribbons, sheets and workbook combo box, sheet 1. To change the selection, use the arrow key.
Shift tab.
JCB, name of blue sheet, edit combo, chart 1. To center value, use the T. R, I, A,
Triangle.
L, E.
Okay, so you need to rename your sheet. So it's going to be created, it's actually going to open a totally new sheet, and it's going to have the design in it exclusively.
Triangle, enter, triangle, chart 1 graphic.
Okay, so I have my beautiful triangle here, and now I want to go ahead and use my Tiger software in order to change all of this information and then emboss it out. So my Tiger has its own menu of Alt-G, and I have already set up my profile.
Alt-G, lower ribbon, Tiger tab, Alt followed by G.
I'm going to translate this with X. You can go to the other videos on how to change your profile. It's very easy. Just hit C to create your own profile and change to contracted, etc. But this is just on how we go ahead and make a beautiful design. Let's go ahead and hit X to translate this.
X, leave it menus, leave it ribbons, view list format or dialog. Would you like to translate all the sheets in this workbook? Yes button to activate.
No. I just want to translate just this document. I could, and all the data that I've put in here so far would be changed to Braille. But I have that in my Word document where all my work is at, so I don't need it again. But you could if you wanted to.
No button to activate, press space bar, alt plus space. Triangle, Braille, triangle.xlsx, triangle, in triangle.
Okay. It instantaneously translates all of this. And now I have several other tabs open, so I want to go ahead and go to my Braille, and it's going to be called Triangle Braille. So I'm going to go ahead and Control page down.
Triangle, Braille, triangle, Braille.
And there we are. And at this point, all I have to do is Control P and emboss it out.
Menu, Leave it menus. Quick button to activate presenter. Alt followed by FTP.
Okay, and I've already embossed this out. Looking at the embossed copy, I realized I focused more on the teaching of it than the degrees. So now I'll go back and change the degrees. Visually, you can see the triangle there. You can see the callouts, which is where my degrees of numbers are on the degrees on your triangle. And of course all the data information of my lines. And so I would hit enter at that point and it would emboss it out. I would hit escape. Just a quick note on this, if you think it takes a long time, it actually only takes a couple minutes to do it.